Jerami Grant is about to get paid. He's about to get paid after spending the season as an invaluable piece of the Denver Nuggets NBA title contending powerhouse of a team. Grant is turning down his player option to become an unrestricted free agent. That means he can sign with any team and he will have no shortage of suitors. Because who doesn't want a player who's capable on offense and defense, who can throw down dunks, who can hit threes, who can rebound, who can block shots, all while guarding the NBA superstar on the opposing team? In today's video, I'm breaking down Grant's game and giving you 5 teams the Nuggets might have to fight off if Jerami Grant decides he wants to go elsewhere. How's it going, guys? This is Troy with the Half-Court Report YouTube channel, and oh man, to be Jerami Grant, do I want this $1 million contract? Do I want that $1 million contract? Oh, decisions. So that's what we're talking about in today's video. Real quick though, make sure you like this video, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Any of that helps in growing the channel, helps in letting other people see this content, because I am going for 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Would really appreciate it. Please and thank you, and let's get into today's video. Quick refresh on Jerami Grant in case you're not super familiar with him. 6'9" player, about 210 pounds. He was a second-round pick out of Syracuse in the 2014 draft. He would be a lotto pick if we redid the draft today. He played 2 seasons for the Sixers, where he averaged about 8 points, 4 rebounds. Then he got traded to the Oklahoma City Thunder, where he played 3 seasons and had pretty similar numbers, but he was much more efficient and much more improved in his shooting across the board. He was then traded to Denver last offseason in exchange for a first-round pick. He started about a third of his games for the Nuggets and was a key piece for them in their playoff run. He was the guy called on to guard guys like Donovan Mitchell, Kawhi Leonard, LeBron James, so he can guard multiple positions. Grant is lean, but he is strong, and he also has arms for days, 7'3" wingspan, which really helps on the perimeter when his size is blended with his mobility. He is just now coming into his prime and has established himself as a starting level forward for a contending NBA team who will provide three-point shooting, slashing, and defensive versatility. So no surprise, he is opting out of his contract with Denver to secure a bigger deal. Who can blame him? He's going to look to up his $9 million per year salary this season to a new deal that'll pay him, I think, about $15 million per year. So of course, Denver wants to bring him back, but who else is an option? Let's take a look at it. I think the Phoenix Suns could certainly use a player of Jerami Grant's talents. He can score, but his ability to guard multiple positions and switch would take Phoenix's defense to another level. Dario Saric is good, but he does struggle defending more athletic fours. Jerami Grant doesn't. Size gives Saric problems, but Grant uses his quickness and athleticism to negate the size of bigger players he's guarding. Grant also moves well without the ball. He finishes above the rim and he runs the floor. You could have Jerami Grant and DeAndre Ayton on the break, with one running to the rim and the other stopping for a trail 3. Grant could also help a little bit in the rebounding department. I think he's improving in that area from his career averages. We saw how close Phoenix was to making the playoffs this year, and I think a guy like Jerami Grant could really get them over that hump. I think the Atlanta Hawks could be a fit too. With a projected $43 million in cap space this offseason, they have more money to throw at Grant than any team. So I think that can be the reason they have an edge over Denver. As far as the Hawks are concerned, John Collins' starting spot at power forward is all but set in stone. And you've also got DeAndre Hunter and Cam Reddish as nice defenders who can make some shots. That makes being the backup power forward the most likely option for Grant, but that's a role he's familiar with and one that won't necessarily impact his minutes with Atlanta. I think the versatility of players like Collins, Reddish, and Hunter will allow Grant to play beside all 3 of those guys at times, and even if Clint Capella is on the court too, he could still see some action. Assuming that the Nuggets offer Grant a role that he prefers, but the Hawks offer more money, I think the decision could come down to location, because you got to remember, Grant's father and uncle, Harvey and Horace Grant, are originally from Georgia, so maybe playing in Atlanta could have some familiarity and have a hometown feel to it. Then you've got the Dallas Mavericks, who in the 2019-2020 season had a historic offense, but they were middle of the road as a defensive team. Their goal was to finish inside the top 10 in defensive rating, but Dallas wound up 18th. And I think the Mavericks want to jump into title contention and improve that defense heading into next year. And yeah, the Mavericks are going to be a little bit light on cap space, but they have the draft picks, they have trades, and the mid-level exception at their disposal to improve their roster. And there are actually rumblings of Dallas being interested in Jerami Grant. I think he'd slot right in next to Kristaps Porzingis in the front court. I think he fills a need for the Mavericks, who struggle to slow down elite scorers. That would just really allow Luka to concentrate on facilitating and scoring. I think he would be a fantastic role player for the Mavericks if they can find a way to get him on that team. And we got to talk about the New York Knicks. Hey, Knicks for clicks, right? Because New York needs perimeter shooting and defense. Grant could make an impact on both the starting five and off the bench for New York. Assuming he gets that starting nod, he could help stretch the floor for the Knicks backcourt, which would be RJ Barrett and whoever they get to run point. Maybe they trade for Chris Paul. Maybe they draft a point guard with that 8th pick in the draft. Maybe they somehow get LaMelo, whatever they do. But I think Grant's defense meshes well with new head coach Tom Thibodeau, who has made it no secret that he wants his team to be founded on defensive effort and good defensive principles. If Grant comes off the bench, he provides the Knicks with bench scoring and a player to help keep the ball rolling defensively. He can also cover big men and ISO forwards. On the whole, he fits in well with whatever offensive structure they decide to go with this offseason. Then you've got the Detroit Pistons, and no matter what direction the Pistons go with the 7th pick in the draft, Jerami Grant makes some sense for Detroit. Yeah, sure. Yeah, Luke Kennard is a decent outside shooter. Sekou Doumbouya has just one NBA season under his belt. He can shoot it a little bit. But with that said, the Pistons need some help across the board, and Jerami Grant does a little bit of everything. He would give them more solidified outside shooting, a bit of a scoring punch, and another forward to add to that arsenal. And I haven't even talked about Blake Griffin and Christian Wood. So what if Griffin can get back to a little bit of the player that he was? What if Christian Wood is re-signed, makes another leap, then add in a potential franchise point guard in the draft? Along with Jerami Grant, you have a really solid team. Detroit also has lots of playing time to offer. Jerami Grant could have a career year in the Motor City, becoming more of an off-the-dribble type of player, and therefore a better overall player. With the Nuggets, he was like a 4th option? I think with the Pistons, he could be 2nd or 3rd option, and that could be something that ends up panning out for everybody. That's what I think, but let me know in the comments where you think Jerami Grant should sign this offseason. Remember, he is one of the biggest free agents this offseason is offering, and it's going to be really cool to see where he plays next year. If it's your first time here, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like this video if you enjoyed it. That's all I got for you today. As always, thanks so much for watching. This is Troy with the Half Court Report, and I'll see you next time.